être live dans 2 secondes.
OK, parfait. Good evening, everyone. Bonsoir tout le monde. Bienvenue à la réunion virtuelle du 16 février. Welcome to our virtual council meeting on February 16th. We'll start the meeting with a roll call. I'll ask members of council to please announce themselves for the record.
Mike Tarnowski, présent.
André Brisson, présent.
Jamie Lauren here.
Cindy Sauce here.
Perfect. And Madame Camille Laflamme, our clerk, is here as well.
Yes, I am, Mr. Mayor.
Parfait, merci beaucoup. Virtuellement, on ne fait pas la prière ou l'hymne national. Item 4, additions, deletions, or amendments. Do council members have anything to add? I believe Conseil Lorrain, you wanted to add an item?
Yes, please. Can I add just a discussion on the Russell outdoor rink, please?
Russell outdoor rink, so that'll be under item 18A. Okay, anyone else? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to number 5, adoption of the agenda. Motion to approve the agenda as amended. So I need a mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Tarnowski, seconded by Councillor Lorrain. All those in favor?
Mike Tarnowski, yes.
André, oui.
Jamie, yes.
Cindy Sauce, yes.
Perfect, thank you very much. Item 6, déclaration d'intérêt pécuniaire. Hearing, seeing none. On va aller à l'item numéro 7, adoption of minutes, regular council minutes of February 1st, 2021. Need a motion to approve the following minutes as presented. Need a mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Tarnowski, seconded by Conseiller Lorrain. All those in favor?
Mike Tarnowski, yes.
André, oui.
Jamie, yes.
Cindy Sauce, yes.
Perfect, item is carried, thank you. Item 8 and 9, presentations, delegations, we have none. Item 10, consent items. Motion that all items listed under consent items be received as presented. Item A, minutes of the Environmental Advisory Committee of December 2nd, 2020. Item B, minutes of the Police Village of Russell, November 17, 2020. Amended, and January 7th, 2021. Item C, minutes of the United Counties of Prescott and Russell of December 17, 2020. And item D, pay list of January 2021. Need a mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Tarnowski, seconded by Conseiller Brisson. I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Mike Tarnowski, yes.
André, oui.
Jamie, yes.
Cindy Sauce, yes.
Thank you very much. Item 11, rapport des départements et comités du conseil. Item A, demande de modification au règlement de zonage, rapport PD 01-2021. Que le conseil reçoit le rapport PD 01-2021, daté du 16 février 2021, et approuve la modification du règlement de zonage au règlement numéro 2018-94 pour la propriété en question, pour ce qui suit. 1. Modifier le zonage de zone résidentielle 1A avec aménagement différé R1AH à zone résidentielle 1A avec aménagement différé R1AH pour permettre la construction d'habitations isolées. Zone résidentielle 2, aménagement différé R2H pour permettre la construction d'habitations jumelées et zone résidentielle 3 avec aménagement différé R3H pour permettre la construction d'habitations en rangée. Question, membres du conseil on this zoning bylaw amendment. Councillor Saucier.
Yeah, I just had a question on the minutes of the Planning Advisory Committee that's at the bottom there of A.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was really happy to see the in the Parks and Rec report that there's going to be addressing about the encroachment issues. But I just had a question, like when people ask a question, like in the minutes of that meeting, and we have, you know, this resident asked a question, we never see what the answer is. So I'm just wondering, is there a way we can see how they were responded to? Because one resident had some concerns about You know, would there be a buffer of this development near the creek and things like that? And I don't see any answers. So is there a way we can see those?
Madame Tremblay, Councillor Lorrain, your chair. Did somebody want to address that one?
I can jump in, Madame Tremblay can correct me if I make any errors in here. My report's not coming up on my iPad, so if this is the meeting that we had, the last meeting, and there was about 3 or 4 questions that were asked, they were all in regards to site plan issues, not the zoning amendment at hand. So we had already had the meeting on the zoning, and staff were taking into account that information. But in terms of the zoning amendment itself, they didn't pertain to that application. And unfortunately, too many times in the past, we tend to get into a Pandora's box of other issues. And you know, we started to at least at the planning committee to really limit the questions to the item at hand, similar to question period in this session. So I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that's what that could have been part of the concerns with one of the residents, is that the questions that were being asked didn't pertain to the item on the agenda. But Madame Tom, they can correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I saw that on where you said, you know, that it wasn't about the zoning issue, but I'm just, you know, same within our minutes from our meeting, like sometimes residents ask a question in question period and we never see what the response was to the resident's question. And I just thought we could include that maybe in the minutes.
Okay, well, that's not, I believe, Madame Tremblay, vas-y.
Yeah, good evening, members of council. So when the question is asked and answered, and it is relevant to the application, we include the answer in the minutes. Okay. So the reason why the answer was not transcript into the minutes and the answer is what Monsieur Lorrain just explained. It was not relevant to the application in this case, but normally if it is, the answer to the question is included in the minutes.
Okay, but that isn't always the case in like our minutes either. When we have the question period, I always read what the person asked, but I never get to read. And I just think maybe when the public reads the minutes, they might be interested. Well, what was the response to that? You know, so it's just a point.
Thank you, Councillor Saucier. I believe either Monsieur Leduc or Madame Camré-Laflamme can correct me, but there's protocols when it comes to taking minutes. And I don't believe that the answers need to be there, Madame Laflamme.
That's correct, Mr. Mayor. When we attend meetings with respect to writing of the council minutes, it is not required, and they suggest not to add it either, because then it could get into, like you said earlier, other debates, and maybe it's not relevant at all. So that is why it's not included. And there's always the webcast or the minutes, the recording of the Teams meeting available if people want to see the answer.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Any other questions on this item? Hearing none, thank you very much. We'll move on to item B, zoning bylaw amendment report PD 02-2021. And it's that council receives report PD 02-2021 dated February 16th, 2021. And approves the zoning bylaw amendment to bylaw number 2018-094 for the subject property for the following. 1, to amend the zoning from residential 1 to residential 2 R2 to permit construction of addition which will convert the existing detached dwelling to a semi-detached dwelling with 1 secondary dwelling unit. Questions, comments, members of council? Seeing, hearing none. Anything to add from the administration?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Thank you very much. We'll move on to the next item. Item C, allocation d'unités d'eau et goût rapport PD 16-2021. Propriété appartenue par Cédric Lavigne et connue comme étant un lot vacant sur le coin de la rue Oasis et le chemin Limoges à Limoges. Que le conseil reçoit le rapport PD 16-2021, daté du 16 février 2021, et que le conseil attribue 18,95 unités d'eau et d'égouts municipales pour la propriété légalement décrite comme étant concession 10 Nord, partie du lot partie du lot 15, plan 50R 9556, partie 1, connu comme étant un lot vacant sur le coin de la rue Oasis et le chemin Limoges à Limoges. Que ces allocations soient soumises à la conclusion et à l'exécution d'une entente de lotissement, d'un condominium ou d'un plan d'implantation pour les projets en question avant le 16 février 2023. Questions, commentaires, questions, comments from members of council? Hearing none, anything to add from the administration?
Non, aucun commentaire.
Parfait, merci beaucoup. Item D, 2021 Interim Tax Levies Report FS02 2021. The Council receives Report FS02 2021 dated February 16, 2021 and adopts the proposed bylaw to provide for interim tax levies for the year 2021. This is usually pretty standard stuff every year. Questions from members of Council? Hearing none. Anything to add from the administration?
Non, merci, M. le maire.
Parfait, merci beaucoup. On va aller à la prochaine item. Item E. Rapport d'activité semestrielle du département de finances. Rapport FS03 2021, que le conseil reçoit le rapport FS03 2021, daté du 16 février 2021. Monsieur Godin, a lot of stuff going on.
Oui, merci, M. le maire. Bonsoir, chers membres du conseil. Donc, oui, ça a été un 6 mois quand même assez occupé, surtout avec la pandémie et les différentes façons de travailler. Le rapport est quand même assez léger, mais je pense qu'il y a beaucoup de travail de l'équipe qui a été souligné là, avec les différentes initiatives qui ont été présentées avec le budget, puis aussi avec le travail qui sont faits sur différents projets avec différents départements. Il y a certains projets capitaux qui continuent d'avancer pour le département de finances, entre autres le logiciel Virtual City Hall, dont on espère avoir un rapport au conseil dans les prochaines semaines pour donner un update là-dessus. On travaille fort pour pouvoir livrer ça avec le nouveau site web. Et également, on a commencé le processus d'achat pour renouveler l'étude des frais de développement. Ça va être un des gros projets pour 2021 qu'on va commencer là, aussi dans les prochaines semaines. Donc, pour tout ça, j'aimerais ça juste souligner le beau travail de l'équipe, puis les remercier pour tout ça. Puis, je suis là s'il y a des questions par le conseil.
Parfait, merci beaucoup, M. Godin. Questions aux membres du conseil? No, here no questions, and we'll go on to the next item, which is the Asset Management Semiannual Activity Report. Mr. Godin.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So again, for asset management, I'd like to thank the team again. The asset management team, including also members from Public Works and Recreation. It has been a busy few months. We've taken ownership of a couple of buildings on Industrial Street. And also we've advanced a few policies, our energy plan and the fleet management policy. A lot of work has been done on that. Nothing yet has been presented to council, but working towards that. And as well, a lot of different asset management initiatives, some of which you've seen in the budget working sessions, some of which will be coming back to council in future meetings, always trying to keep up with the different regulations from the province and everything regarding asset management. And you'll also notice in this month's report, we've included two tables. So a readiness scale, which essentially is a self-assessment of how we stand regarding all the different areas of asset management. It's a way to evaluate ourselves, and it's a tool that the committee uses to prioritize where we need to improve, where we need to allocate our resources. And also, so basically every 6 months when we do bring this report back, we'll be trying to update that table and to show council updates and to keep council informed of the concrete actions that have been taken. And we've also presented the infrastructure deficit here, which is essentially a copy of the calculation you've seen in the budget presentation. But this is another one where we want to bring back to council every 6 months to show the evolution of it. Like I mentioned to council during the budget working sessions, we'll be doing a lot more work this year in refining the annual requirement and trying to update that to represent our So again, that was for the update for asset management. So again, thank you to the asset management committee team. And again, if you have any questions, I am here.
Thank you very much, Monsieur Godin. Any questions, members of council, on the asset management report? Okay. Hearing none, we'll move on to the next item, semi-annual activity park for Parks and Recreation. I'm sure it's been quiet, Madame Guital?
Quiet? Not too sure about that, but that's okay. We like to be busy.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, so for us, it was mostly the reopening from June to December. This is when we reopened the day camps and the daycare. So that was a busy summer for us. Nonetheless, there were less registrations in both day camps and both daycares, but still we were still able to recover a cost. So that was the good news. And then in September, we saw the reopening of both arenas. And also, sorry, the dome opened up also in July. So that was another facility that was able to start its operations again. It was not the same way to work and the same way to operate, but at least a lot of users could come back and do their sports and their daily activities. So the arena started back on September 8th, if I'm not mistaken, and as we went through the months, there were more things allowed inside the buildings, but unfortunately on December 26th, we were back in lockdown. So, and tomorrow is the first day that we will be reopening since the lockdown. So yes, the numbers speak for themselves. I think we've seen some less registrations, less hours sold. So definitely there's less revenues. But with the arenas, there's also less operation costs, so that helped a bit the budget. So I think with the final audit, you will see the final numbers. So it's not that bad, as you could probably see through the numbers that I've supplied. But we're used to bigger numbers, so that's why it's not the same kind of year. Yeah. But we were happy to be able to provide all the services and a big thank you to the team, because it was a very, very different way to work. And I appreciated all the effort that they've put in the last 6 months. And tomorrow, well, it's back to point. So if there's any questions, I'll be pleased to answer them.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Madame Guital. You're choppy a little bit, not the best connection, but it's understandable in these virtual meetings. There's always something that's going on. Madame Saucier, Councillor Saucier, and then Councillor Tarnowski.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I saw on your list there, Madame Guittard, was the addressing the encroachment issue of the trail. So that will be happening this summer.
Well, we'll be reporting to council first to let you know what kind of encroachment we're talking about, and we will probably be seeking direction from council to address the different encroachments that we did find throughout the trail. We're just about to revise some agreements that were made years ago with the municipality. So after we've finished revising that, the report is all ready to come back to council. Okay. So this should be in March or April, the very latest.
Okay, that's great, because I just recently saw something that kind of really concerned me. Was one resident had extended their backyard with fencing. It's temporary fencing, but they added probably 20 feet compared to everybody else. So it really sticks out because you know, it encroaches right into under the hydro line just about. So that was one thing that I just thought, you know, these things need to be addressed sooner than later. So that I'm happy to hear that. And the other question I had is bowling alleys on the list to be opened or not?
I think we had closed it till September, and we're going to relook at it later in the year, Madame Guital?
Not until September.
September. Okay, perfect.
Okay, merci.
Members of council, yes.
Say two, that's it.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Councillor Saucier.
Pierre, tu t'es muté.
Ça arrive une fois.
Somebody muted me. That's okay. Councillor Tarnowski and then Councillor Lorrain.
Merci. I've got 2 points I'd like to make. So in follow-up to Councillor Saucier's point on encroachment, I'd be interested in also finding out if we have plans moving forward in looking at encroachments in other areas that are not necessarily trails per se as of now. But I know, for example, in all the new developments here in Embrun, behind where there's the little creek, you know, there's little paths there and you can walk there, but you can see a lot of the residences are kind of storing stuff and stuff past their property line. So I wouldn't mind knowing if that's going to be part of that process as well. That's my one point. And my other point was just in terms of looking at the overall report, it would be nice, and I think Mr. Mayor, you mentioned that we are going to be getting an update on COVID impact, but it'd be nice to see everything kind of compiled from a parks perspective, because obviously that's where we had the largest impact on COVID, just to kind of get a review like for the year, what the impact was and what are our expectations for this year. Well, that's a bit of a mystery right now, but in terms of having one place to look at the bottom line, how do we impact on total revenues? How do we impact on total expenses? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Tarnowski. Monsieur Leduc, Monsieur Godin, I believe a report will be coming back in the future and we'll have it broken down by department as well.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, that's correct. So we are planning on bringing a report back to council with the breakdown, like similar to the updates we brought close to year end in 2020. We'd like to bring council an update once all the numbers have been finalized. So you'll probably be receiving that before BDO comes for the financial statements. So we're aiming for a second, either a second meeting of March or the 1st of April to have an update to council regarding all those financial implications.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Lorrain.
Yeah, it was more just I might have missed it when Madame Guital said it, but when does this report, or what date does this go till? To the end of December, or?
You go ahead.
Yeah. Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, until the end of December.
Okay. Okay. Then I will make my comments on the next report, because I know there's a good project that was finished recently, or that's been done recently, and looks fantastic. So. But I'll bring it up at the next meeting. At the next semi-annual report. Thank you.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Any other questions? Hearing none, we'll move on to the next report. Report H, Fire Department Semi-Annual Activity Report, Report Russ M01 2021. The council receives Report Russ M01 2021 dated February 16, 2021. Chief Armstrong, Chief Duhamel.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council. We're presenting our semi-annual report. This is a revamped report for us. We're trying to get up to speed with the rest of the department. We've listed most of our activities just to show you what we've been doing, and some of the highlights are some of the certified training that our firefighters are taking in both stations. Our activities with our ongoing virtual meetings with the fire marshal and OFM and stuff like that, standardizing training between the two departments. Some of our new projects, some of our special events with the retirement of a couple of long-term service firefighters. In our stats, we wanted to, and hopefully it's a new look for council to see, our charts and graphs. We're trying to copy exactly how many calls, so those are calls for the entire year and the 3-year comparison. And also we wanted to start showing council how our calls are broken down for daytime, evening, and weekends. So You'll see the charts there where I think it's pretty hard not to see our daytime calls are our main concern. So our daytime staffing is number one to us. And lastly, kind of a bit of a graph showing you where the calls have taken place within the municipality.
Okay, thank you very much, Chief Armstrong. It was nice to see the graphs. It makes it a little bit easier on the eyes, so it's much appreciated. Anything to add, Chief Duhamel?
No, we this was a, like I say, it was like Chief said, it was a revamp, and I think we're just going to add on to it. It's going to be better and better every year as we go. Everything was touched on there, even like even for like us, our medical calls during the COVID, we had to adapt different scenarios on that and getting dressed differently, and precautions on that. And every call that we had to take it as a COVID positive. So that there was a little bit on our firefighters, a little bit more stress on that, but all in all, everything went well.
Okay, thank you very much. Questions, members of council? Conseiller Brisson and Conseiller Lorrain.
Yeah, just one question, and because I was quite a bit surprised because the population of Embrun and Russell is quite the same, a bit bigger in Embrun, but I said that the number of calls and cases was a lot higher in Embrun. Is there a reason that you can explain, or?
Embrun is a little bit bigger, and we have the industrial park, and we have the 417, and we have Limoges. So we got a lot of how did that happen? I couldn't explain to that. I'd have to maybe look into that more, but no, I couldn't tell you how come we have more calls than anybody else. But no, sorry about that.
I guess if I could add on to that, Councillor Brisson, I'll use an example. For some reason, the Embrun station had, I believe, 12 more medical calls than we did, and they were above a normal year, and we were below a normal year. So sometimes the calls vary from year to year. We did have more calls for nuisance alarms, but to say exactly what it is, it was kind of right across the map. So, and again, like Chief Duhamel said, the population is a little bit more in Embrun, so they will respond to a few more calls, including 417. So,
just one more comment since I'm talking. I really like your new graph at like the one with fire and rescue service. Just one small comment with technical. If the graph can keep the same color for Embrun and Russell, because you have two graphs that it's one color and one graph that is another color. So just whenever, that's why I say just technical. So, but I really like those graph color and everything, and it's nice to see. And
okay,
thank you.
Thank you very much. I think the chiefs are taking note of that. Conseiller Lorrain.
Yeah, I mean, great work to both departments. You know, I think when we look back at what's gone on over the last, well, I guess semi-annual reports, the last 6 months, all within COVID as well. I think we forget the COVID factor, and you know, every call that they go to, like Chief Duhamel just said, they got to take it as a COVID positive and make sure that they take all those precautions. And you know, I want to stand up here today and thank them for all that they're doing, and all of the members on both fire departments for that job that they're doing for us. I mean, these are volunteer firefighters who are dedicated to our community and to the health and well-being of our communities. So I'd just like to say thank you to them for everything that they're doing, and you're doing a great job. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Perfect. Councillor Tarnowski.
Sorry, couldn't find the unmute. Yes, thank you very much. I echo everyone's comments. I had a quick question pertaining to the retirees. First of all, a big thanks to the two retirees for all the service over the years, and there's a lot of years there. But in those two volunteer firefighters moving on, there's a lot of experience that left the teams. And I was just wondering, I just wanted to ask, is there a you know, did we backfill that correctly? Are we in a shortage, like with all that experience leaving us in one shot? Are you guys feeling comfortable? Is there anything that we can do to support, basically just in that area? That's my question.
Thanks, Councillor Tarnowski. Chiefs?
For Embrun, yes, we did lose Jacques, 36 years of service. We have in our management team, we have captains and lieutenants that are there to take over, and we just have one captain to fill, and he came in with a lot of experience. So we're gonna have a promotional thing in our station to address this. But for the losing the 36 years, that was a great loss for us because a lot of experience in there and a lot of know-how, and he was a well-respected firefighter. But time had to move on, I guess, and that's you can't do anything about that right now. But it was too bad for that because we had a good go on that. But for us, I think we can move on now. I don't think we'll be in a shortfall, and I think he's going to be replaced, and we're never going to get the same back sort of thing. But we're moving on with a lot of experience in our captains and our deputies, and I think we'll just say it'll be all good for us.
Thanks, Chief.
If I could just add to that, I guess where we get the support from council is our budgets. The last couple of years ago, our training budget was increased a bit, and that's helping us get certification for all of our firefighters, giving them the possibility of moving up the ladder too. So hats off to council for supporting us for training budgets. That means a lot. I guess the last thing I would add, and Chief Duhamel both and I spoke about this, is we would really like to thank our teams. That it's been a tough go with both. Some of them, we were afraid that they might have left during COVID, and we didn't lose anybody for that part. So we're very proud of our two teams. Maybe we're hard on them sometimes, but it's all for their own safety. And it's been a good run, and we look forward to 2021 and getting better. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Chiefs. I think an important thing to add is while they are two individuals that are leaving with a lot of experience, they were two individuals who were more than willing to share their knowledge and experience with those who followed. So they've been helping teach the new recruits and people in the department for years and years. And I know when I was on the department, Jacques taught me a lot of stuff. And he was, and I'm sure it was the same with Ron, that he gave a lot of information as well over the years. So not always wanted, but it was probably well received either way. So thank you very much, and pass along council's thanks to the two individuals. All right, we'll move on to the next item. Item I. Clerk Semi-Annual Activity Report, Report CL02 2021. The Council receives Report CL02 2021 dated February 16, 2021. Madame Camré-Laflamme.
Hello, Mr. Mayor and council members. Yes, so this is the Semi-Annual Activity Report for the last 6 months. So I also want to congratulate my small team and for all the big work that we have done, even though it's not as easy working from home and the technology and the internet are not always cooperating, but I want to thank them all. So council has seen the report. I'll go briefly just to say, as you will have noted, the municipal elections has already started for 2022. So since October 8th, we've been having meetings with the clerks of the counties to work together, and different webinars, and to see what kind of different online platform there is, and other platforms and other vendors. So we're going to be busy again all this year with that as well. And with respect to the ombudsman, I just want to say, out of the 3 we had in the complaints we received in the last 6 months, the one in July, the ombudsman's office advised verbally that the matter did fit in the closed session. So council did not contravene, so everything was okay with that one. There's the complaint is finished and the file will be closed. For the one in September that we received, the ombudsman has finished reviewing it, but it has advised us verbally that it is just translating the letter, will be sent to the clerk, and then we'll add it to the next council agenda. So it will be probably in March or April. As soon as we receive it, we'll add it to council's agenda. So there's only one other one that is ongoing. And with respects to the stats in Appendix A, I just wanted to say that we added one column for the certificates that we are also preparing from the mayor's office. And for the next 6 months, we'll be adding another column with respects to the contracts that we are signing, since I know in January we signed a lot. So I think maybe that would be something that council might want to know, how much time we spend on these two other things that were not noted before in these statistics.
Okay. Thank you very much, Madame Cameron-Laflamme. Questions, members of council? Hearing no questions, thank you very much. I see that looking at the ombudsman reports and looking at the freedom of information requests, I'm just curious, like, you know, when I look at a freedom of information request and I see, you know, fees collected $5, obviously that's taking up a lot more of our staff time than just $5 worth. I know some things it's quite simple, it's just providing that. But just to clarify, you know, when somebody makes a request, it takes a lot of time from all the individuals. You put it all together, all your time, and then you give a price to the individual if they want to, you know, purchase or pay for the staff time to purchase that, correct? So, but if the individual, for example, say, you know, $500 worth of staff time went into this, but the individual has the opportunity to say, oh, never mind, I don't want it, right?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, but at the first part, when we send an estimate, we always request 50% down.
Okay.
So when we receive the 50% down, then we proceed with the rest if we don't have all the information, or we need to prepare the file or redact or sever some information, or so that's when we do the second part. And then they have to pay the second part before we release any information. So yes, we're collecting a bit, but no, we're not collecting all of our time on that for sure. And that's because of the Municipal Freedom Act and the FOI Act, because they have not been revised for a long time. And that's the fees and their regulations.
Right, yeah, we're legislated to charge that. That might be something at one point that the province wants to look at. You know, it keeps raising minimum wage, you know, the cost of living keeps going up, but these prices have been locked in place for God knows how many years. So maybe something we can mention at one point with the minister. Thank you very much for all the information. If there's no further questions, we'll go on to the next item, which is item J. CAO Comms HR Semi-Annual Activity Report, Report CAO 01-2021. Monsieur Leduc.
Bonsoir, Monsieur le maire, membre du conseil. Donc, dans notre cas, c'est le dernier rapport semi-annuel. Donc, c'est la fin pour ce qui était présenté au conseil. Moi, c'est sûr que COVID a eu un impact beaucoup sur la livraison des services qu'on a livrés aux citoyens. Mais ça, moi, personnellement, pris beaucoup de temps à beaucoup de lectures, beaucoup de rédactions de minutes dans les débuts. Puis aussi beaucoup de décisions face à plein de directions données aux employés. Donc, c'est certain que ça a affecté définitivement ce qui a pu être complété dans notre département, mais définitivement que COVID a eu un impact à ce niveau-là. C'est sûr qu'on a toujours agi dans les meilleurs intérêts de protéger les employés dans leur santé et sécurité, parce qu'on a toujours continué de livrer des services importants à la population, surtout en réglementation ou en inspection de bâtiments, en eau et égout, en chemin, en service de garde, en bien des cas, à l'arena aussi dans certaines occasions, donc les parcs aussi durant l'été. Donc, beaucoup d'employés ont été exposés au virus, puis ont toujours pris les meilleurs intérêts des employés pour la façon pour livrer le service aux citoyens. Aussi, par contre, il y a eu beaucoup d'éducation communautaire par réglementation sur la communauté pour qu'eux maintiennent leur santé et sécurité. Donc, la COVID a eu beaucoup d'impact sur plusieurs départements dans leur livraison de services. Second thing I'd like to highlight in my report is that Mrs. Beeler, our communications officer, has been working hard in moving on with our new website design, which is going to be coming to the public at the end of March or early April. So I'm sure you'll be happy to see how easy it's going to be to find documentation. Also, how it does meet now the new accessibility requirements through a new software that transforms documents. So that was an obligation to meet by January 1, 2021. So we'll just be a few months late, but what's available now has been changed on many occasions per request. So that's been met. But definitely, I'm looking forward to show the council and the community the new website once we get there at the end of March. Also, you've seen this year 4 new newsletters. I think council wanted us to contact or communicate more information or a little different information to the community. So therefore, there's been 4 newsletters. And again, there's one that came out in the fall. Now one is being printed right now, and therefore soon to be handed over to the residents. And also in our IT section, you saw that not IT, but our social media followers have increased significantly over the last 12 months. COVID has helped us with that, obviously, and more so in Instagram and Twitter. But definitely, we've seen more people following us and keeping track of any decisions or recommendations that we may put out to the community. From the HR perspective, obviously, it's not easy to recruit during COVID. There's been difficulty in attracting some staff. It's been a difficulty to reactivate employees who were laid off or called back. So a lot of employment contracts to be signed and re-signed. So that's been quite a challenge for the HR department over the last 6 months. And finally, for both Mrs. Beeler and to Mrs. Guillemette, we've been short staff, and finally we're moving along with our filling up that position. So we're trying to recruit. There's been some difficulty in getting candidates, but anyway, that's coming soon to an end. And looking forward to have a full team to deliver more. So that's kind of the summary of what I want to share with council and the community regarding my departments over the last 6 months.
Okay, merci beaucoup, Monsieur Leduc. It's been definitely a challenging time. Questions, comments, members of council? Councillor Tarnowski?
Actually, I just want to congratulate Monsieur Leduc for an amazing job. This has been a really challenging year with all the changes, all the adjustments and adaptation, and all the challenges, especially around the staffing part, which I think has been very difficult for a lot of people. And I'm very proud the way the township has kind of addressed those issues and dealt with them while still maintaining, the professionalism and everything else. And congratulations for running this ship in that right direction. It's unknown territory for a lot of people in leadership positions, and you've done a phenomenal job. Thank you to you and everyone on your team.
Thank you. I'll pass it along. Thank you very much.
Merci, Conseiller Tarnowski. Councillor Saucier.
Yeah, I echo that, and I also really appreciate all the updates, and the memos that you're putting out, like the one I received today, Monsieur Leduc. So it just, keeps us informed as well. So I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Perfect. If there's no further questions or comments, we'll move on to the next item. Item K, FCM grant application, report AM02-2021. Motion 1, that council adopts the proposed resolution directing the administration to submit a grant application for the Municipal Asset Management Program with FCM. Motion 2, be it resolved that council directs staff to apply for a grant opportunity from the Federation of Canadian Municipalities Municipal Asset Management Program for a condition assessment to be produced for both the Emblem and Russell Arenas. Be it therefore resolved that Russell Township commits to conducting the following activities in its proposed project submitted to the Federation of Canadian Municipalities Municipal Asset Management Program to advance our asset management program. 1, condition assessment of the Emblem Arena and condition assessment for the Russell Arena. Be it further resolved that Russell Township commits $12,500 from its budget towards the cost of this initiative. Questions, comments, members of council? Councillor Lorrain?
Yeah, I'm just curious, did we not do a condition report previously, like in the last few years? And how often should we be doing them?
Monsieur Godin?
Oui, merci, Monsieur Maire. So, Councillor Lawrence, so yes, I think it was back in 2015. There was a condition assessment done on the envelope and the structure of the building, not all the components. To answer your second question, we passed the council in 2020 kind of a condition assessment routine, a schedule for every different type of assets. So it is recommended that for buildings we do have a condition assessment done every 5 years or so. So that would fall in line with that routine. As far as the arena goes, why we're proposing the arenas, they are some of our biggest assets with the biggest investment needs over the long term. We do recognize that the future of those arenas are kind of unknown at this point in time, with the new rec complex being proposed to be built in the coming years. We felt though that that wasn't necessarily a reason not to invest a bit into this condition assessment. When we're doing condition assessments or most studies for asset management, obviously it's not like the deliverables are never concrete assets or stuff like that. It's mostly reports and studies with recommendations. So we feel that this here would probably help council in the long run to decide, be it on timeline or which arena should be closed first or whatnot. So that's kind of where we came with this recommendation.
Thank you, conseiller. Monsieur Godin, Monsieur Leduc.
Yeah, maybe I'd like to add to that, council, is that we know that there's going to be some key decisions regarding the arenas very shortly. And if there was just a matter of being repurposed or sold, I think the conditions will have to be known to either the purchaser or to council or to the administration if we were to repurpose them to something else. So that's why we felt that since we have an opportunity to get a grant to assist us in finding out this information, it'd be worthwhile to do that, even though we may think they could be shut down in 3 years. Or repurposed, but certainly that's why we want to go there and say, well, we'll have a report in hand to say, well, you can buy this building, or you can transfer this building, or you can repurpose it to something else, but there's going to have to be these issues addressed initially. So that's why when I was proposed this by staff, I agreed to it because I felt there was a value to it and that it could serve in 2 different ways.
Thank you, Monsieur Leduc. Questions? Councillor Brisson and Councillor Saucier.
Yeah, it was just now we're talking about a grant, but we still have 12,000. Does the grant cover half? Is it 3/4 of the cost, or what's the proportion of it?
I believe, Monsieur Godin, in the report, it's 80% is the grant and 20% is the municipality. Is that correct?
That's correct. So FCM covers 80%. So the grant covers 80% of the expense, up to $50,000. And the rest is from the municipality. Okay. So here the grant would be 50,000, and the municipal investment would be 12,500.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Saucier.
Yeah, no, I just had a question because I know, well, we haven't decided yet in the rec complex design, but I remember the discussion before was that even with the new complex, would we have enough ice to accommodate, the demand that's going on for hockey? Not this year, of course, but I remember having that discussion, and Councillor Laurent, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought we had said, that we couldn't close the arena, that we needed that extra ice.
I think that's going to depend on what's going to be put in the complex. If it's right. 1 rink, 2 rinks, 3 rinks, I mean, that's all going to be part of the entire discussion. But like Monsieur Leduc said, it's nice to know what the condition of the buildings are. If we decide, and there could be, if we were to sell those buildings, for example, well, there could be revenues to help pay for the complex itself. So I think there's opportunities here, but we need to know where we stand before we make a decision on the future of those buildings. Conseil Lorrain?
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify the question that was asked of me is that what I think I said previously is that if the complex is built with less than 3 pads of ice, then we need to look at keeping facilities open in the, whether it be the Russell Arena or the Emma Marina or whatnot, because in my understanding of the needs of the municipality, we need at least 3 ice pads across the municipality. So if it's, but I mean, obviously that's going to be a discussion to be had in the very near future regarding what goes into the rec complex. But I think I've been pretty steadfast and adamant that for me, it'd be 3 pads at that location, which then gives you the flexibility of doing other things with the other 2 locations.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Any further questions, members of council? Anything else to add from the administration?
Oui, merci, Monsieur Bond. Just to clarify, though, this resolution here is to give us direction to apply for the grant. So we haven't necessarily received the grant yet, but we will be informing council if that does move forward or not.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Monsieur Godin. Next item, item L, demande d'exemption à l'application du contrôle des parties de l'eau, se référer au règlement à l'article 16, 275-277 rue Moisson à Embrun. Questions? This is part lock control exemption. Anything to add, Madame Tremblay? Pretty standard stuff. Hearing none, we'll move on to the next. Monsieur Leduc?
Yes, members of council. I'd just like to say that sometimes we do add things late on the agenda with the request of developers and to show that our effort to work with them. It was a late request past the deadline and also very past after our first mail out. So I'd just like to raise to council that sometimes we're trying our best to accommodate everybody's request, and that's why you see it late on the agenda.
Thank you very much, Monsieur Leduc. It's always nice to hear that we're helping them out. Often developers only reach out when there's something negative to say, and they forget to mention the 10 positive things we did for them as opposed to this one negative thing. So it's nice that you know, I know staff are always trying to help as much as possible, and we try and do everything we can to help. So it's good to remind everyone of that as well. Item 12, reports from investigator and ombudsman, we have none. Item 13, notice motions, we have none. Item 14, question period on meeting of the day. If anybody has a question on the meeting itself that addresses items on the agenda, I'll invite you to please put it in the chat box and we will address your questions. There's none at this time. We'll give it a few seconds. Okay, seeing none, we will move on to the next item, item 15, resolutions. Motion that council approves all recommendations listed on the agenda under item 11, reports from departments and council committees. I need a mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Conseiller Lorrain, seconded by Conseiller Brisson. Call for the vote. All those.
Mike, sorry, Mike Ternosky, yes.
Andre, oui.
Jamie, yes.
Cindy Sosa, yes. Perfect.
Resolutions are carried. Item 16, bylaws. Motion that council approves bylaws 2021-0313 to 2021-016 inclusively for first, second, and third reading as listed on the agenda. Need a mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Ternosky, seconded by Conseiller Lorrain. Call for the vote.
Just a question.
Yes.
Do we have to have the number because the bylaw 2021 tax levy, there's no number beside? Does it has to be mentioned here or it's automatically?
Madame Cameron Laflamme?
I'm not sure if Councillor Brisson is looking at the French index, but I can see on the
Oui,
English version,
français.
it's 015 for that bylaw.
OK. Parce que moi, c'est en français, là, c'est la bylaw de tax levy.
So it's 013 is the first one, 014 is the zoning bylaw for Forget, 015 is the tax levies, and 016 is the park lot control.
OK.
C'est bon.
OK. Parfait. Oui, il y avait une nouvelle version qui est rentrée plus tard, juste avant la réunion à 4h30 ou quelque chose pour ça.
OK.
OK. If there's no further questions, I'll call for the vote.
Mike Ternosky, yes.
André, oui.
Jamie, yes.
Cindy Sosa, yes.
Perfect. Items are carried. Thank you. Item 17, rapport d'affaires nouveau. Il n'y a pas. Rapport 18, rapport d'hiver présenté par les membres du conseil. 18A, Councillor Lorrain for the Russell Outdoor Rink.
Yeah, I just wanted to take this opportunity to share with council who may not see it on a day-to-day basis, but what a wonderful job that our staff are doing this year with the crazy weather that we've had, cold, warm, snowy, not snowy, rain. So all of the things that they've been doing, and again, the fire department for starting it all out for them. But I go by every morning and a couple times throughout the day, and they've had that rink, that outdoor rink, in tip-top shape for the residents to do something during COVID, to get out and enjoy the weather as best we can, and for the kids' mental health and whatnot. So I just wanted to, we always hear the bad things, like we said before, don't always hear the good things. Well, I can tell you that rink has been in impeccable condition all season long, and they've been doing a fantastic job with it. So a shout out to Celine and her team for a job well done so far this year, and I'm sure they'll keep it up for the rest of the year. I haven't seen the other rinks, so I can't comment on them. I assume that they're in similar shape, but I just wanted to make the comment because I go by it every day. So it's a great job.
Okay. Thank you very much, Conseiller Lorrain. Madame Guittard, anything to add?
Well, thank you for that comment. We really appreciate it, and I will definitely pass it on to the staff, because you're right, they have been working very hard. We've made the rink twice this year because there was a thaw, we lost the ice, and thank you again also to the Russell Fire Department who helped us in starting the one in Marionville and one in Russell, and also twice. So thank you to everyone.
Okay, merci beaucoup. Next item 19, public consultations and hearings. We have none. Item 20, closed session. Motion to move into closed session at the hour of 6:57 p.m. to address matters pertaining to Section 239 of the Municipal Act 2001, SO 2001, Chapter 25, consider matters relating to 1. Purchase of land for 2 properties in the industrial park under Report CS01 2021. Section 2C, a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition land by the municipality or local board. Item 2, finance organizational structure changes, Report CS02 2021. Under Section 2B, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees. And Section 2D, labor relations or employee negotiations. Item 3, closed session minutes of the regular council meeting dated February 1st, 2021. So I need a mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Lorrain, seconded by Councillor Ternosky. All in favor?
Mike Ternosky, yes.
André, oui.
Jamie, yes.
Cindy Sosa, yes.
Perfect. We are now moving into closed session. For those watching, after our closed session meeting, we'll be back. We'll report out a closed session and we'll finish off the meeting. Thank you very much, everyone. We'll see you later. See you in the next meeting.
Je viens pas à bout de...
Okay, so I think it's important that we go over the report, even if you had it on Friday, just to go over some of the details. Basically, in January of 2019, we presented a report to purchase some acres from Welton. So Wells, I can't pronounce it.
welcome back, everyone. We're just waiting for a few members of the administration and council to come back into open session, and as soon as they get here, we will restart. We will continue this meeting. So I believe all members are back. So perfect. So we will report out of closed session, Madame Camelet-Laflamme.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. So we're 8:16 p.m. So for the first item, council was briefed on the subject, and as a result of the closed session, there will be a motion presented for council's consideration in a few minutes. For number 2 was the same thing. Council was briefed, and also a motion will be presented for council's consideration. And the closed session minutes of the regular council meeting for the closed session of February 1st were presented and adopted.
Okay.
So we go for the first motion. That is.
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah, Monsieur Leduc.
am I the only one seeing a closed session sign in the background of the? Is that okay?
Yeah, it's not in the red box. It's not live.
Okay.
I think it was just the background that she had still in the background now, as opposed to in front and center.
Okay,
so we're good.
Okay.
Yeah, and the public doesn't see this.
That box. Okay.
So it's a motion to that council approves bylaws 2021-017 to 2021-019 inclusively for first, second, and third reading as follows. So the first one, number 017, being a bylaw authorizing the mayor and the clerk to sign the documents for the purchase of land between the Township of Russell and Welton Welshart Farms, Inc. for part of Lot 22, Concession 4, under the conditions listed in the report. The second one, bylaw 2021-018, being a bylaw authorizing the mayor and the clerk to sign the documents for the purchase of land between the Township of Russell and Mélanie Construction for part of lots 22 and 23 on Concession 4. For the third one, bylaw 2021-019, being a bylaw to assign the submission of an application to Ontario Infrastructure and Lands Corporation, called OILC, for temporary and long-term financing of purchase of land for the industrial park of the Corporation of the Township of Russell, which is the municipality, pursuant to a floating rate capital loan facility made available by OILC to the municipality.
Okay, that's everything, Madame Laflamme?
That's everything for those 3 bylaws, yes.
Okay, I'll call for a recorded vote. Please state your position.
Mike Tarnowski, yes.
Andre, oui.
Jamie, yes.
Cindy Sose, no.
Okay, and myself, yes. Thank you, that is passed. And the next item?
Mr. Mayor, I don't believe we had a mover and a seconder for that.
Oh, my apologies. Mover and a seconder, Councillor Lorrain, Councillor Tarnowski.
Thank you. Okay, so now we go to the second motion. Motion that council receives report CS-02-2021 and approves the addition of a full-time position of finance clerk to the township's organizational structure as per the new proposed organizational chart for the finances and asset management.
Okay, need a mover and a seconder to put it on the table. Moved by Councillor Saucier, second by Conseiller Brisson, and a recorded vote for this one as well. Please state your position. You're muted, Councillor Tarnowski.
Apologies. Mike Tarnowski, no.
Andre Brisson, oui.
Jamie, yes.
Cindy Sose, yes.
Myself, yes. It is carried. That's it, Madame Cameron-Laflamme, for the report out of closed session.
Yes, the next one is the confirming bylaw 2021-020.
Okay. That bylaw 2021-020 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the Council of the Corporation of Township of Russell at its regular council meeting held on February 16, 2021, be read a first, second, and third time and passed. Need a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Tarnowski, seconded by Conseiller Brisson. All those in favor?
Mike Tarnowski, yes.
Andre, oui.
Jamie, yes.
Cindy Sosa, yes.
Thank you very much. Next regular public meeting of council will be held on Monday, March 1st, 2021. And we are adjourned at 8:21 p.m. Thank you very much, everyone. Have yourselves a great evening.
Night.
Night.
Good night.